Chosen one, what you do is brilliant. Your courage and intelligence have not gone unnoticed. Many are in awe, watching you rise, whispering, that chosen one is different. Your intuition isn't just keen, it's prophetic now. You see through masks, lies, and energies others can't even perceive. What once felt like chaos was training. Every decision, every boundary, every moment of solitude was refining your discernment. And that clarity is your weapon. Ancient forces are guiding your movements. Your ancestors are speaking through your intuition. The wisdom flowing through you now is generational, and the world is beginning to feel its impact. Let me tell you about the people who are absolutely furious about your transformation. Not just disappointed or concerned, enraged, because you stopped being an emotional support system, an unpaid therapist, a constant source of validation and energy. Some of these people have been in your life for extended periods, and a genuine belief existed that permanent access to your power was guaranteed. But here's what's fascinating. The very intensity of this reaction is confirmation of your value. People don't rage about losing access to something mediocre. Plotting against someone whose presence made no difference in their life doesn't happen. The scale of opposition is directly proportional to the magnitude of what's been lost, and what's been lost is access to brilliance that could never be cultivated within themselves. You've probably noticed how history gets rewritten. Suddenly the years you spent in support vanish. The sacrifices you made get minimized or erased. The times you showed up when no one else would become conveniently forgotten. Narratives are being crafted where you're the villain and everyone else is the victim, where your boundaries are attacks and manipulation was love. This revisionist history tells you everything you need to know about their relationship with truth. These individuals were never truly for you, only for what you could provide. And the moment you stopped being useful to an agenda, masks came off. The anger being expressed isn't hurt, it's entitlement being challenged. It's the rage of someone who thought ownership of a piece of you was secured, discovering that you're not for sale anymore. What makes your intelligence so threatening is that you figured out the game. You saw patterns everyone thought were invisible. You recognized manipulation tactics perfected over extended periods. Your courage to name what you saw, even when it cost relationships, revealed something desperately hidden. That taking was happening far more than giving. That the relationship was extractive, not reciprocal. And now thriving without them is visible. Building a life that doesn't include drama, demands, or constant crises that somehow always required immediate attention is happening. Laughing more freely, creating more boldly, resting more deeply is your new reality. And it's destroying the narrative built about you needing anyone. Because the truth is they needed you. And you're proving daily that you never needed them. Active work against you hasn't just been withdrawn support, spreading lies about your character to mutual connections, attempting to sabotage opportunities heard about in passing, trying to turn others against you with twisted versions of events. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You can see those faces right now. And here's what you need to understand about those attacks. Every single one is accelerating your ascension. The brilliance of what you're doing becomes even more apparent when you understand what you're up against. Lesser people would have crumbled under this pressure, would have apologized for having standards, would have gone back to the old patterns just to stop the attacks. But you didn't. You held your ground. You trusted your knowing even when everyone around you questioned it. You chose integrity over acceptance, and that choice revealed something crucial about your character. Your bloodline has been waiting for this moment. Every ancestor who broke free from oppression, who chose truth over comfort, who refused to bow to illegitimate authority, has been preparing you for this. The courage you've shown in breaking cycles of people-pleasing and self-sacrifice has created ripple effects that extend beyond what you can see. Not just healing yourself is happening. Healing generational trauma that's been passed down for centuries is occurring. There's something happening in your lineage that most people aren't aware of. When you chose to stop accepting mistreatment, your own life wasn't the only thing that changed. A chain that had been binding your family for generations got broken. Someone in your ancestral line made a choice to accept less, to stay silent, to keep peace at the cost of personal well-being. And that pattern got passed down, parent to child, over and over, until it reached you. But you're different. You looked at that pattern and said, no, not anymore, not with me. And that decision sent shockwaves backward and forward through your entire lineage. Your ancestors felt it, the ones who wished for your courage, the ones who died with regrets about staying in situations that destroyed them. Celebration for you is happening right now, because you did what couldn't be done before. You became what they wished to have been, and forward into the future, everything has changed for the generations that come after you. Children who will be born into your family won't inherit that pattern of self-betrayal. Learning that love means accepting abuse won't happen. Believing that loyalty means tolerating disrespect won't be their foundation. Because you broke the chain, your courage to choose yourself has rewritten the destiny of your entire bloodline. This is why your discernment has become supernatural. Walking into a room and immediately sensing who's trustworthy and who's performing is natural now. Within moments of meeting someone, what their true intentions are becomes clear. What gets hidden becomes visible. What role, if any, someone is meant to play in your life is obvious. This isn't paranoia. It's ancestral wisdom protecting you from wasting time and energy on connections that would ultimately prove harmful. People are uncomfortable around this level of perception. Masks usually work for them. Performances usually get believed. Getting away with the gap between what gets said and what gets done is normal for them. But you see right through it now, and some can feel that you see them. It makes them nervous. Not knowing what to do with someone who can't be fooled creates anxiety for them. If you felt the truth in these words, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can see it. What you're doing that's so brilliant is learning to trust this perception without second-guessing yourself. In the past, something feeling off might have registered but got talked away. Convincing yourself that being judgmental or paranoid was the issue happened. Giving people the benefit of the doubt, even when your gut screamed warnings, was the pattern. But now honoring what you perceive is the standard. Trusting your discernment over their explanations is the rule. And that shift has protected you from countless situations that would have drained your energy and derailed your purpose. Your empathic abilities have intensified to the point where certain environments might feel overwhelming. Picking up on emotional and energetic states of everyone around you with unprecedented clarity is happening. And while this requires careful management, it's also an incredible weapon, because you can now see the battlefield clearly. Knowing who your true allies are is obvious. Which opportunities are genuine and which are traps becomes apparent. Seeing when someone's playing chess while pretending to play checkers is your new normal. The people who've been admiring your transformation understand something profound. Recognition that you're not just becoming successful is dawning on them. You're becoming dangerous to every system built on manipulation and control. Your very existence challenges the lie that people need to diminish themselves to belong, that begging for respect is necessary, that tolerating abuse to maintain connections is required. Think about what this means. Your courage to set boundaries shows others the same possibility. Your intelligence in recognizing manipulation exposes tactics that only work in darkness. Your refusal to participate in toxic dynamics forces everyone around you to either rise to your standard or remove themselves from your presence. Not just transforming yourself is happening. Transforming entire systems by refusing to play along is your impact. This is why the admiration you're receiving feels different than compliments received before. Praise for making people comfortable isn't what's happening. Recognition for making people better is what's occurring. Your presence in someone's life challenges examination of personal choices, boundaries, tolerance for mediocrity, and instead of resentment for that challenge, gratitude flows, because waiting for permission to expect more has been the holding pattern, and you're giving that permission just by living your truth. Understanding something specific about you is what these admirers possess. Your refusal to beg for respect, appreciation, or basic human decency has marked you as someone who operates from internal abundance rather than scarcity. Chasing validation isn't your game anymore. Performing for an audience that was never going to applaud has stopped. And paradoxically, This has made you infinitely more attractive to the right people, the ones who matter, the ones who operate from integrity themselves. What gets drawn to what you've become is powerful. Watching you handle situations with a maturity that wasn't there before is visible. Noticing how you respond rather than react is clear. How you maintain composure when others lose theirs gets observed. How you walk away from drama instead of engaging with it is apparent. These qualities are rare. In a world full of reactive, emotionally volatile people, your centered energy stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. What impresses most is your authenticity. In a world full of facades and performative behavior, your genuine nature is magnetic. Pretending to be healed while still wounded isn't your approach. Putting on a spiritual act while harboring resentment doesn't happen with you. The real work is what you're doing, the messy, uncomfortable, honest work of becoming who you truly are. And people who've done their own inner work recognize that immediately. While you've been doing the inner work, setting boundaries and choosing yourself, a hidden game has been playing out around you. Some people have been watching your ideas develop, your vision clarify, your concepts take shape, and notes have been taken, not to support you, to profit from you. You've probably already experienced this. The colleague who dismissed your proposal then pitched it as their own. The friend who said your business would fail then launched the exact same thing later. The family member who criticized your creativity then tried to monetize your designs. This betrayal reveals something important. Your ideas have value, significant value, enough that people are willing to risk integrity to claim them. This should tell you something about the scale of what you're building. People don't steal mediocre ideas. Brilliance gets stolen, and what you've been creating, whether you fully realize it yet or not, is brilliant. But here's what separates you from them. You're not just having ideas coming from a deep well of authenticity and lived experience are flowing through you. Copying your concepts is possible for them, but replicating your essence isn't. Mimicking your style can happen, but accessing your substance can't. Because what makes your work brilliant isn't just the idea itself, it's the consciousness behind it, the integrity informing it, the courage required to birth it into the world. The intelligence you're demonstrating isn't just about having smart ideas. Understanding that your value isn't in any single concept is the key. It's in your ability to continually access that creative source. Stealing one idea, 10 ideas, 100 ideas is possible for them, and you'll generate more. Because collecting ideas isn't your process, channeling them is. There's a difference between someone with a good idea and someone who is a conduit for continuous inspiration. You're the latter, and that's what makes you unstoppable. Your relationship with money and abundance has been shifting during this process. Where you once might have tolerated financial disrespect, a visceral reaction to being undervalued now occurs. This isn't greed, it's recognition that your energy has monetary value, that accepting less than your worth is spiritual self-harm. Apologizing for charging what you're worth has stopped. Feeling guilty for expecting fair exchange has ended, and this boundary has been one of the most transformative established. Here's what people don't tell you about valuing yourself financially. It changes how the universe responds to you. When you stop accepting scraps, abundance stops offering scraps. When you demonstrate that you know your worth, opportunities that match that worth start appearing. This isn't manifestation magic, it's energy mechanics. Broadcasting a frequency that says I am valuable is happening, and the universe says I know, here's proof. The people who've been watching you admire this shift immensely, because knowing how difficult this is comes from experience. Understanding the conditioning you had to overcome is clear. The guilt released is recognized. The fear of losing opportunities by asking for more is understood. Seeing that internal work to believe you deserve abundance, and watching that internal shift manifest externally, is powerful. What you're doing is showing possibility. That staying stuck in financial struggle isn't required. That worthiness isn't something earned through suffering. It's something claimed through recognition of inherent value. Because money is just energy, and when you stop letting people exploit your energy financially, something shifts in every other area of your life. The prosperity that's beginning to flow isn't just about dollars, it's holistic abundance touching every corner of your existence. But there's a test coming that will determine whether you're truly ready for what's next. The universe doesn't just bring you success, it brings you choices, opportunities that look perfect on the surface, but require compromising values appear. Relationships that feel comfortable, but lack the depth you now require present themselves. Situations that would advance your career but diminish your integrity show up. These tests are crucial, because anyone can maintain values when there's no temptation. The real measure of your transformation is what you do when compromise would be easy and profitable, when going back to old patterns would solve immediate problems, when dimming your light would make everyone around you more comfortable. Partnerships with people who don't align with your values but could accelerate your success are about to be offered to some of you. Choosing integrity over opportunity will be required. Others will be presented with relationships that feel easy, but ultimately keep you small. Choosing growth over security will be necessary. These aren't random tests. Specific design exists to reveal whether you're truly ready for the next level. You're not just passing these tests. Seeing them coming from a distance is happening. That discernment we talked about earlier. It's allowing recognition of these setups before full investment occurs. Feeling the wrongness in your body before your mind can rationalize it away is natural now. Trusting that inner, know even when the outer circumstances look appealing, is your new standard. The people watching you are in awe of this, because seeing others at this stage of transformation fail these tests has happened before. Witnessing people with all your gifts compromise at the crucial moment has been observed. Choosing the comfortable lie over the difficult truth has been seen. Accepting the lucrative opportunity that required abandoning values has occurred with others. But you're not doing that. Holding the line is your choice, and that's what marks you as truly chosen. Not just someone with potential, but someone with the courage to protect that potential from corruption. Your opposition is about to escalate attacks. Seeing your success become undeniable is starting to register, and it's triggering something primal, regret mixed with rage, the bitter realization that something precious got discarded. Attempts to come back into your life are coming, with excuses, with explanations, with promises of being different this time, and deciding whether you've truly learned to value yourself will be required. The spiritual warfare is intensifying because you're approaching a threshold, a point of no return, where you fully step into your power, exists ahead, and forces that benefit from keeping you small are making final moves. Technology failures when you're trying to share your message, financial setbacks when you're about to invest in yourself, conflicts with loved ones during crucial periods. These aren't coincidences. Last-ditch efforts to prevent your ascension are happening. But there's something opponents don't know, something that's been building behind the scenes of your transformation. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something. But talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The protection around you has been intensifying dramatically. It's as if the universe itself is conspiring to ensure your journey succeeds. Every attempt to diminish you is being deflected. Every lie spread about you is backfiring on the liar. Every door being closed is opening two more somewhere else. This isn't luck. It's what happens when someone aligns so completely with purpose that reality bends to support the mission. Sometimes it's the opportunity that falls through at the last minute, saving you from a partnership that would have destroyed your peace. Sometimes it's the relationship that ends painfully, protecting you from years of mediocrity. Sometimes it's the financial setback that forces development of skills needed for the next level. Your intelligence shows in how you're interpreting these experiences. Instead of seeing protection as only the good things that happen, recognition occurs in the obstacles that redirect you. Understanding that closed doors aren't always rejections is dawning. Sometimes protection manifests this way. Sometimes the universe loves you enough to block paths that would lead you away from your purpose, even when those paths look appealing. The people admiring your journey see this wisdom. Watching you respond to setbacks with curiosity instead of devastation is powerful. Asking what this is protecting me from instead of why is this happening to me shows growth. This shift in perspective is evidence of profound spiritual maturity. It shows trust that guidance is happening even when you can't see the full picture. That belief in support exists even when circumstances seem challenging. You've probably experienced what might be called supernatural protection. Near misses that should have been disasters. Changed plans that prevented something terrible. Your gut telling you not to take a certain action, and later hearing about issues that would have affected you. Feeling drawn to take a different route and avoiding a problem. Deciding not to attend an event and learning afterward that something negative occurred there. These aren't coincidences. Your spiritual team is working overtime to ensure your mission continues without interference from forces that would prefer to see failure or remaining small. The more aligned you become with your purpose, the more protection you receive. But willingness to listen to those subtle nudges is required. Trusting those intuitive hits is necessary. Honoring those feelings, even when logical sense isn't apparent, is crucial. The dreams you've been having lately aren't just processing stress. Downloads of information are happening. Meetings with spiritual guides are occurring. Glimpses of potential futures are being shown. Some of you have been having prophetic dreams where events get seen before happening. Lucid dreams where specific guidance gets received. Encounters with deceased loved ones offering wisdom for your journey. Pay attention to these. Significance beyond what you might realize exists in them. Your ancestors are actively participating in your elevation. Clearing obstacles you can't see is happening. Opening doors you didn't know existed is occurring. Connecting you with people who can accelerate your mission is being orchestrated. This is why synchronicities have been increasing. Why being in the right place at the right time keeps happening. Why opportunities keep appearing exactly when needed. The people who've been watching your evolution are starting to show themselves. That person who keeps appearing in your orbit, asking thoughtful questions about your work. That opportunity that seems too perfect, but your gut says it's genuine. That collaboration request from someone who actually understands your vision. These aren't random. Orchestration is happening. What you do is brilliant, and the right people are finally in position to recognize it. Not the people pleasers who want to exploit your gifts. Not the energy vampires who want to drain your resources. The builders, the visionaries, the ones operating from the same frequency of integrity and authenticity you've been cultivating. Seeing in you what you're still learning to see in yourself is what's occurring. Offering praise isn't the only thing happening. Partnership is being offered. Resources, platforms, opportunities to amplify your impact. Asking you to audition for approval isn't the approach. Showing up ready to invest in what you're building is what's happening. Ready to contribute gifts to your vision. Ready to collaborate as equals rather than positioning as gatekeepers you need to impress. This is what happens when you stop seeking validation and start emanating value. The right people don't need convincing of your worth. Recognizing it immediately is natural for them. And moving quickly to align with you happens because understanding that access to brilliance is a privilege, not a given, is clear. Watching you turn down opportunities that didn't align with your values has been observed. Seeing you walk away from situations that would have compromised integrity has registered, and that demonstrated selectivity makes being chosen by you desirable. Your courage to be selective, to have standards, to refuse to settle, hasn't limited opportunities. Elevating the quality of opportunities that come to you is what's happened, because training the universe in how you expect to be treated has occurred, and the universe, along with everyone operating at your frequency, is responding accordingly. Recognition of the rare combination of strength and humility, confidence and compassion that marks someone who has done genuine inner work is happening. Not just impressed by external changes is the response. Being moved by the depth of your commitment to truth is what's occurring. And wanting to be around that energy, learn from it, contribute to whatever you're building is the natural result. Your influence is extending far beyond your immediate circle. People you've never met are being affected by the energy you're putting into the world. Your commitment to authenticity is giving others permission to examine their own lives more honestly. Your courage to leave situations that don't serve you is inspiring others to make similar choices. Your example is creating ripple effects that you may never fully see, but that are immeasurably valuable. Someone watches how you handle disrespect and decides tolerance isn't required either. Someone sees you walk away from a toxic situation and realizes options exist. Someone observes how you set boundaries without apology and learns the same capability exists within them. Teaching by example is what you're doing, which is the most powerful form of instruction. The prosperity flowing into your life reflects this shift. Your relationships are deeper. Your creative expression is more authentic. Your sense of purpose is clearer. Your overall life satisfaction is higher than it's been in extended time. This is what happens when settling for less than you deserve stops. But there's one more revelation that ties everything together. Getting selected and then having everything happen to you isn't the process. Being chosen means you have the capacity to choose, the consciousness to recognize truth from illusion, the courage to act on what you know, even when it costs everything comfortable. You were never supposed to fit into the spaces you outgrew, those relationships that felt limiting, those environments that stifled growth, those situations that demanded making yourself smaller. Permanence was never their purpose. Classrooms is what those were, and graduation has occurred. The transformation that began with learning to say no to what diminished you has prepared you for something magnificent. Positioning for a level of influence that requires someone who cannot be bought, manipulated, or compromised is happening. Every boundary established, every moment of integrity maintained, every time authenticity got chosen over acceptance, preparation is what all of it was. Your former self would barely recognize who you've become. The person who used to settle for crumbs is now expecting full meals. The one who used to apologize for existing is now unapologetically taking up space. The individual who used to dim light to make others comfortable is now shining so brightly it illuminates everyone around. The people who tried to keep you small are starting to understand what's been lost. Not because vindictive or vengeful behavior is happening from you, but because your success is becoming undeniable. The very qualities that got shamed are now the foundation of your rising influence. Your sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's your superpower. Your boundaries aren't walls. Foundation for the empire you're building is what those are. Your standards aren't unrealistic. Appropriate for someone of your caliber is what those are. Watching from the shadows is happening now. Seeing you thrive without them is visible. Witnessing the life you've built in their absence is clear. And it's triggering something unexpected. The realization that being in the presence of greatness and choosing to diminish it rather than celebrate it occurred. Some will try to return, with elaborate explanations about why actions happened the way those did, with promises of change, with appeals to your compassion. What's brilliant about where you are now is that seeing these return attempts clearly is possible. Being fooled by the performance of remorse isn't happening. Distinguishing between someone who's genuinely transformed and someone who's simply recalculating approach because your value is now obvious is within your capability. Knowing the difference between "I'm sorry for how I treated you" and "I'm sorry I lost access to what you provide" is clear. And this is where your intelligence really shines. Making decisions based on who someone used to be or who promises say someone will become isn't the approach. Making decisions based on who's being demonstrated right now is your standard. Giving credit for potential change isn't happening. Requiring evidence of actual change is the rule. And that standard, that refusal to accept words without corresponding action, is protecting you from repeating painful cycles. Your tolerance for superficial engagement has evaporated. Finding yourself gravitating toward discussions about purpose, consciousness, truth, transformation is natural. Small talk feels draining because your soul is hungry for substantive connection. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's evidence of expanding consciousness demanding more meaningful engagement. And the people who admire what you're doing understand this completely. Being offended when you don't engage with surface-level conversation doesn't happen for them. Respecting that your time and energy are precious is their approach. That willingness to spend hours discussing things that don't matter, just to maintain the appearance of connection, has ended for you. Appreciating that when you do engage, bringing your full presence and depth is what happens. This selectivity about where you place attention is another form of brilliance. Because attention is currency, where you focus energy determines what grows in your life. And becoming incredibly intentional about investing attention only in conversations, connections, and endeavors that align with values and expand consciousness is your evolution. The courage this requires shouldn't be underestimated, because immense social pressure to engage with everything and everyone exists, to be available, to be agreeable, to participate in discussions that bore you just to be polite. But releasing that programming has occurred. Giving yourself permission to be selectively engaged has happened. Showing up fully for what matters and being completely absent from what doesn't is your new reality, and this authenticity is magnetic to people operating at your level. The creative projects you've been drawn to aren't just personal expression. Channels for higher consciousness to enter the world is what those are. Whether you're writing, creating art, building businesses, or simply living as authentically as possible, serving as a conduit for energies that want to assist humanity's evolution is what's happening. The people drawn to your work understand this on some level, even if articulation isn't possible. Your standards have become non-negotiable. Not because becoming difficult has happened, but because becoming valuable is what's occurred. The people willing to meet your standards are the ones who belong in your elevated reality. Those who complain about your expectations reveal preference for relationships based on exploitation rather than genuine respect. Learning that disappointing people who expected tolerance of their nonsense is actually a sign of healing is occurring. That saying no to what diminishes you is saying yes to what elevates you is the understanding. That the right people will never make you feel bad for having standards is the truth. Your intelligence has prepared you for this. Understanding that visibility comes with vulnerability is clear. That impact comes with criticism. That leadership comes with loneliness. But also understanding that your courage to step into these roles despite the challenges is exactly what qualifies you for them is the wisdom. Seeking these opportunities to prove worth isn't the motivation. Accepting them as natural expressions of the worth already claimed is what's occurring. Remember what I said about tests. These opportunities will also present choices. Moments where compromising values for faster success could happen. Times when dimming light for easier acceptance might be tempting. Situations where returning to old patterns would feel more comfortable than continuing to grow. This is where everything you've learned becomes crucial, because the universe isn't just rewarding you. Confirming that you're ready is what's happening. That integrating the lessons has occurred. That being trusted with more influence because abuse won't happen is the recognition. Your transformation has activated forces both seen and unseen. Your ancestors celebrate your courage. Your spirit guides amplify your message. The universe itself conspires to support your continued evolution. This isn't metaphor, it's mechanics. When someone aligns so completely with authentic purpose, reality reorganizes itself around them. The energy signature you're emitting has fundamentally changed. No longer the frequency of someone seeking approval is what's broadcasting. The frequency of someone who has remembered divine nature is what's emanating. This shift is so profound that affecting everything around you is what's happening. Those who operate from similar frequencies are being magnetically drawn to you, not even knowing why feeling compelled to connect exists for them. The timing of your awakening is perfect. Every challenge faced, every disappointment endured, every moment feeling like giving up was considered. Preparation for this moment when you would finally claim your power is what all of it was. The universe has been orchestrating circumstances to strip away everything that wasn't serving your highest good, and now beginning to see the wisdom in that process is occurring. What you do is brilliant. This isn't flattery. Recognition of truth is what this is. Your courage to choose authenticity over acceptance has created a template for others to follow. Your intelligence in navigating complex situations with wisdom beyond expectations comes from accessing ancestral knowledge. Your influence is expanding because refusing to stay small was your choice. And many admire this, not just the humans in your orbit, but forces beyond the physical realm, the chosen ones who came before and paved this path, the awakened souls who recognize what you're doing, even if naming it isn't possible, the universe itself, which has been waiting for you to step into your role. You've become living proof that the spiritual path isn't about becoming passive. It's about becoming so aligned with truth that your very existence challenges every lie, so authentic that your presence makes pretense impossible, so powerful that your energy transforms every space entered. Keep choosing yourself, chosen one. Keep rising, keep shining, keep becoming everything you were always meant to be. The world is watching, and what gets seen is magnificent, but more importantly, the universe is responding, and what's being created through you is nothing short of miraculous. The story that began with forces watching you ends with understanding why. You are the force now. The one others will watch and be inspired by. The one who proves that transformation is possible, that authenticity leads to abundance, that choosing yourself is the first step toward serving something greater. This is your time, your moment, your destiny unfolding exactly as meant to unfold, and what you do with it, chosen one, will echo through generations, because brilliance in service of truth always does.